I've been tearing the boat up in the cockpit. So what we got here is we took the, we've got new instruments, new chart plotter, new instruments for depth and wind and everything. So I took the panel off, took it home, but the problem is that Jeanneau, in their infinite wisdom, it's just too small, and they put the frickin' compass right here, and it takes up all the space. And so I'm trying to come up with a solution for mounting all the instruments and a much larger chart plotter than what we have, and it's turned out to be a real challenge. So I thought that I would try to get me a nav pod and put it on this hand grip right here. But the nav pods come in two. This is what they kind of look like, just to give you an idea. They come in two widths, basically. They come in a 9.5 inch width, where they're indented here and here at 9.5 inches to mount to the handle. So what we thought we could do is we would add some extensions here, cut this, have Justin here at the marine yard welder weld this in 4 or 5 inch extensions to raise this up, and then we could mount the pod there. The issue we got though is that this is at 9 inches, and it's also not 1 1/4 inch tube. It's 1 inch tube, or it's actually metric, but it's close to 1 inch. It's also only 7.5 inches center to center, which is too narrow for all the existing pods. So I was looking at some ideas about how to maybe replace this one with a new angle guard, something that's larger and would fit the equipment. So I went to take the throttle quadrant off. That's this unit right here. Throttle cables come up from down below, and they come up through this tube, and then they're in a secured to a mechanism here for forward, reverse, and neutral, and things of that nature. So anyway, but I went to take the screws out, and it's all aluminum, of course. So all the screws came out except the last one, and I ended up stripping the head of that out while trying to remove it. I used PV blaster and a bunch of things, heat, to try and loosen the nut. One of the bolts on this side actually had some corrosion, aluminum type corrosion. They didn't put any anti-seize on it. When it goes back together, it will have anti-seize on it. So anyway, I drilled the head off it, and I've got the head completely off it, but it's so corroded in here I can't get this apart. I can get this to spread, but it's tight down here. So I got to try and work on it. So as a result, I needed some room to work, so I thought I'd take the cockpit table out. So there were 4 bolts in the bottom here, and then the 3 screws that went to the that little bar right there. So when I pulled it up, that section was wet, soaking wet. It's been wet for years. There was no sealant around the edge of the pedestal, so any water that got in the cockpit from rain or waves or anything else could get underneath there. And this is teak, and that teak is soft. It's just rotted wood. It doesn't go all the way through. So the plan right now is to let it dry out, and then we'll see how much wood we actually have that's good. We'll sand it down, clean it up, and considering that it goes underneath this cockpit table, I'm going to, the plan right now is to sand it down flush, fill in the low spots with a synthetic type material, maybe even epoxy. I don't know. It's just plastic wood. I don't know yet. I haven't decided yet. Then when I get ready to put the table back on, we'll get it all sanded smooth and stuff, and then we'll get the table on, get it bolted down, and then we'll use sealant around the edges of the table to prevent any intrusion of water again, to where it gets just in there and gets wet. I think that's the solution. I may change my mind as I get into it more. I may do a little more research. Nevertheless, that's kind of the plan right now. But I still have to work on this thing here. Well, I finally got it apart, and you can see how corroded that fastener is. It's just a tube. The strength of this grab bar comes from where it's mounted right here to the pedestal itself. A lot of PB blaster and some vice grips, and we got it out. I took the bar off, And I got an idea. I'm going to go talk to Justin right now about a modification. Well, we've made progress. I actually got the bolts in, and it's looking pretty good. That's where I had to hook it up down there. I had to stretch them a little bit. It's supposed to be up there, of course, on the compass, the autopilot, the Zeus 3, they'll all go down here on this panel. And of course then the wheel and the throttle. But good, we're making progress.